All right, considering World War Z turned out to be the biggest hit of his career, it's no surprise that producer and star Brad Pitt and his Plan B entertainment company are moving full speed ahead on developing a sequel. However, it seems that one of the people that won't be returning is director Marc Forster, who Pitt confirms won't be coming back. Forster himself in recent interviews suggested that he wouldn't be interested in returning for part 2. Forster previously directed such films as Finding Neverland, Monsters Ball, The Kite Runner, Stranger Than Fiction, and the James Bond film Quantum of Solace. John, are you surprised Forster won't be returning for World War Z 2?
No, I would have been shocked if we found out he was coming back. Not because the movie wasn't good. You guys know I actually ended up kind of liking World War Z, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do next. I love, as a side note, Finding Neverland. It's my favorite Johnny Depp movie, actually. I think that movie is just breathtakingly good.
Ooh, Crybaby.
I didn't like Crybaby that much. Anyway, but the thing is, for those of you who followed any of the drama that went on in the making of World War Z, like, people were thinking the whole movie was just going to collapse. Tons of reshoots. People weren't happy with what Mark was doing. Mark wasn't happy with other people. They took away all the people who was working with him behind the scenes and replaced them as well. They gutted like the third act completely and remade it from scratch. Like 8 weeks of reshoots, blah blah blah. It's not a surprise that a couple weeks ago we heard him in an interview saying, "Yeah, I'm not really interested in going back to that world," and not a surprise to hear that he won't be. Gray, you follow this stuff too. Were you surprised to hear that he wouldn't come back for World War Z 2?
Not a bit. Anytime that you have a gigantic movie with a gigantic star from a gigantic book that has to reshoot the entire last part of the movie, it must have been a nightmare for the producers. It must have been a nightmare for him as a director. So that alone, regardless of politics or whatever they had planned, is enough, I think, to send him packing and not wanting to do a second one. And I do want to point out there's a still of him that was just over when Chrisley was talking, and another thing that he needs to rethink is the scarf that he was wearing in that picture. It was not okay.
I'm all for the scarf. What are you talking about? Where is the day of the ascot? Anyway, Amy Rose, you surprised that he's not back?
So it's really the scarf. You're fine with his directorial efforts.
Look at it.
It's the scarf.
Hold on. What is he? What? And look at that look in his eyes. He looks like he's going to kill Brad Pitt for reshooting his movies,
girl.
That's what's happening.
I like the scarf. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that he's gone. I mean, with a production on this scale and with so many players not flowing well, it's never a surprise to kind of get rid of the Helmer. And, it was a decent movie. It was fun, but I can't say that I'm upset to not see him return either. I mean, out of all the films you just read, lovely Chrisley, Finding Neverland was by far my favorite, and the other ones were fine. I mean, Quantum of Solace was my least favorite of the Daniel Craig
yeah, mine too.
films, of the Bond films, and
I can't even say the words. I dislike that one so much.
Yeah, I really wasn't a fan. I don't like his direction or choices in that, and it was not the actor's fault by any means. So yeah, I'm okay to see him go. I think Brad Pitt is a phenomenal actor, and from what I've heard about it, I did not read the books, that there was a lot that was not shown on the big screen.
Well, apparently it's completely different from the book. Like,
it's
from
totally different, and there's so many interesting parts and elements of the book that they could have sewn into a narrative story that they chose to completely ignore. So really the only thing that the movie retained was the title. Yeah. Because when I picked up the book at an airport, I was like, great, I'm going to read it, be prepared for the film, and then it did nothing for me.
What is this?
I wasted all that time reading, for God's sake. I'm a movie critic.
I think this is one of those really good situations. Look, I believe Forster's a great director. The Kite Runner, Monsters Ball.
He's good.
Talked about Finding Neverland. I think this is just one of those situations where you have a talented director, a talented filmmaker, and a production company that's actually starting to do some pretty good stuff. And they were just on different pages, and they just wanted two different things. Obviously, Mark was not taking World War Z where Brad Pitt and his production company wanted the film to go. They gutted everything, and so it's probably best that they part ways and not pin blame on anybody.
It's an amicable divorce, at least to us.
Yeah.
So.
And don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.